I would say it's great to be back making videos for the Sonic Amateur Games Expo, but we're at an awkward point. As you can tell, I didn't really make my Sonic video around September, the month that Sage usually takes place. Rather than skip the 2024 games, let's call this interesting Sonic fan games to play before Sage 2025. I've said it before, but Sage is basically Christmas for Sonic fans, and we are spoiled with the number of high-quality fan projects and glimpses to future projects to look forward to, and the 2024 event is no exception. Like other years, I ran into some technical issues, but I was able to resolve all but one. Sadly, I'm unable to look at Sonic Skyfall. It's nothing against the devs or anything. The overly demanding framework makes it difficult to cover this game, and my PC is starting to show its age. With that out of the way, I found a few unique projects or should I say last year, so let's dive in. We're going to start where I wrapped the 2023 video, and that's with Sonic Unleashed Plus. It's an attempt at a fan remake at the HD version of Sonic Unleashed running on the Dash engine. This time we're treated to a demo of the Empire City level and a bit of the hub area. Just like the previous public build, it resembles Sonic Unleashed but isn't quite there. The 3D movement's a bit better here, though it doesn't matter as much with this level. Very little is needed outside of boosting. Honestly, I can't tell the difference between this and the real thing. All I can say is that the level is brief since it's only a portion of the original, as that one is 3 times longer. It has the wall running and the big robot segment. Plus, there's a glitch at the beginning where the speed booster will launch Sonic into a malfunctioning spring. Aside from that, it's another impressive recreation, though now we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Sometime later, a group of dedicated fans came together and released the Sonic Unleashed recompilation. This is a fully playable, fully moddable version of Sonic Unleashed that takes the 360 version of the game and allows for it to run natively on PC, rather than emulation with Xenia or RPCS 3. This is huge for Sonic Unleashed fans, but also huge for fans of Xbox 360 games that are stuck on the console, as it uses tools that, in theory, could port over those titles. Unfortunately, this led to the developers canceling the Sonic Unleashed Plus project. It makes sense, and I've seen this before. Shout out to Hey Joe Way and the Sonic 2 Communities cut. It's impossible to sound harsh, but with the recompilation, Unleashed Plus comes off as redundant and obsolete since the entire game is ready to go. Sure, players will need to supply their copy of Unleashed and the DLC if they want it, but it's a fair compromise. I think what the Unleashed Plus devs did was impressive, even if they weren't too far into the project with their 2 builds. I'm still blown away with how good it was. I'm sure they're tired of hearing it, but I'm going to echo the sentiment of the comments in their videos claiming that it's cancelled. If there's any interest in repurposing the work done here, it'd be great to see a smaller scale fan game use whatever they've completed so far. If you want to check out this build, I'll post a link to this and all other fan games in the description, but honestly, check out how impressive this is. Sonic Endless Adventure is a 2.5D endless runner game made in the bumper engine where you must survive as long as possible while destroying enemies and grabbing collectibles. I picked this one because how often are you going to find a game that has what appears to be procedurally generated Green Hill Zone? I guess the novelty is what got me to want to try it, and it's a bit clunky. You have access to a lot of the moves that you would normally find in other bumper engine games, like the homing attack, spin dash, bounce, and the lightspeed dash, but it does have the issues that come with making a 2D game using a 3D engine, while not restricting the 360 movement, though I'm not sure if that's possible or not. Sometimes you don't move properly or it feels like you get stuck, which is not the only thing that could lead to a bit of a struggle. There are times where the level design, or lack thereof, can lead you into taking unnecessary damage or using a game mechanic that can lead you into a pit. This only really happened when I used the light dash. You're given 3 lives to collect whatever's available, but I swear I've been able to go through this without being sent to the main menu 4 times. It could be because I collected 100 rings or something, but it's a decent challenge. I just think the novelty wears off pretty fast. Even with music as a reward for collecting red star rings isn't enough to keep me going. It would be nice to see more locations, skills, or even cosmetics added to the game to give those red star rings some more value. I'd like to also see obstacles with loops or something that requires wall jumping to be added. I still think it's worth trying out even for a bit, just for the novelty of a randomly generating endless level. I had to double check to see if I've already played Sonic Adventure Blast 2 before, but no, I played the first game. This is a 3D platformer that has the player going around as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, either getting to the gold ring or collecting the 3 pieces of the Master Emerald. From the start, the level reuse is going to be constant throughout the game. You have mostly locations from Adventure-era Sonic titles, those being Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes. Because of this, it's tough to talk about most of the levels since the designs are taken from the original titles. I will go over the ones with alterations or that have been changed entirely. Dry Lagoon and Pyramid Cave seem to have the least amount of modifications, as Lagoon has a section that I don't think I've ever seen before, which made finding the last emerald piece a chore. Pyramid Cave removes the stone keys and uses regular switches to open up doors. Emerald Coast looks odd because there was a top path that was introduced, and where it would split off from section 1 to section 2, you're given these platforms to jump across instead. Definitely one that should have been kept untouched, though I will give the creator props for using the whale. Dragon Road is one of the few levels that's not part of the adventure era that's brought in, but it's probably one of the weakest levels in the game. There is a lot of homing attack chains in a super linear level, and it diverts to 2 paths at one point, but it's pretty meaningless since you end up at the same path a little further down. While it is fun to use the momentum to go on long stretches of road, that's about all it has to offer. Cloud Temple is an even less interesting level as you go from tiny platform to tiny platform, deal with enemies in way too open of a section, then go through an area that reminds me of Sonic Lost World to wrap it up. Castletown, Noki Bay, and Delfino Plaza are emerald hunting stages, and with the exception of Castletown, the other 2 are pretty one-to-one with the source material. Sweet Mountain is a very drastic change. They took the Sonic Colors level and turned it into another emerald stage, which is pretty interesting and I kinda like it. I kinda want to see more levels like these that are repurposed for exploration rather than for boost to win. It's not really boost to win, but you know what I mean. Now that I got my criticisms for the individual levels out of the way, the game itself is pretty empty for 75% of the runtime. You are revisiting levels from official games, but those found a way to add something to make it more interesting, or just found a way to keep players from getting bored. The times where I wasn't getting tired of doing very little was when I was slipping around narrow areas or flying off loops. I think this could be a fun engine to play around with, but the level selection doesn't really do it any favors. All the gameplay you've been seeing is through the game's arcade mode. You go through all the levels in the game with a limited number of lives. At the end should be a sequence where you go to stop the Eclipse Cannon, but if you haven't picked up the Chaos Emeralds along the way, you're told to do it again. Well, I guess I won't be doing that. To the game's credit, there's still more to do. You can take on the same levels but with different missions like collecting rings, playing hard mode, and more. I think the engine can have great levels made for it, I just don't think Sonic Adventure Blast 2's selection allowed it to put its best foot forward. Still, try it out for yourself. Funny story, I've only ever played Sonic and the Secret Rings once. It was on this channel and I was bored going through the tutorial. Project Reignition is an effort to remake the game for PC so that it can be enjoyed on native PC hardware without the motion controls that would have been complained about by many people. Yes, I am aware you can also do this with Dolphin, but this is native PC hardware. For this video, I actually played 2 builds of the game, one from Stage 2024 and one from January of this year. They have the same areas playable, those being Sand Oasis, Dinosaur Jungle, and Evil Foundry. What I will say about the levels is that they're on rails and I really don't care for them. I remember the controls for the Wii original being very wonky, so I think allowing for movement with the left stick fixes most of the issues I had. The only one that persists was how slippery it was moving from side to side, though that can be fixed with skills, among a bunch of other things. That's something I really got to use in the more recent version. I was able to mix and match skills until I got a build that felt right to me. I have a hard time saying what's really different except for the shaders loading before each level, but even that still had performance issues, but I think that's unavoidable with an unfinished project. The last thing I could say is that the bosses were pretty interesting. Sometimes it does feel like I'm running into them, but they're not too bad. I admire the efforts of those involved with this project. I think Secret Rings is going to be a hit or miss with players, but I'll definitely check out future builds, as you should too. So here we go. This is one of the heavy hitters for Sage of 2024, Sonic Ultra Saturn. It's what many have said would be a proper Sonic game if it was on the Sega Saturn. Anyway, the game starts with a remix of Sonic CD's English theme, Sonic Boom, with clips of the OVA playing. I guess if it's relevant, it's not worth messing with. Though maybe using clips for the OVA is not the greatest idea. Copyright and such. Anyway, it's a 2D platformer on the not-so-simple Sonic Worlds engine, so it's a no-brainer that the game plays well. Visually, it looks great. Like, damn. Sure, some of the areas are a little derivative of other zones, but this game is just straight-up eye candy. For most of the game, the level design is pretty familiar with what you'll see in other fan games. Solid, but familiar, which is nice. If I had to complain about certain zones, Dynamic Plant got pretty tiring with the amount of saws throughout the 2 acts, and Wetland Zone had a lot of do-or-die segments that were really getting to me. Whether it was the bottomless pits or the instant kill lasers in Act 1, it does make the game more frustrating than necessary. And that's the takeaway I got when I was talking to friends about this game. It's fine, but there are things that get in the way of enjoying the game in its entirety. For me, it was the obnoxious level design at times. However, it came to my attention that the bosses were just as much of a struggle, and after playing the game, they were not the worst. I think the boss in Madness Mountain Zone was a terrible first encounter with Dr. Eggman. It doesn't take too long to understand what the player is supposed to do, it's just very tedious, and sometimes the projectile will not make contact with the piece of land or with the evil doctor himself, so the boss fight takes a little bit longer than it needs to. There was a mini-boss in Crystal Frost Zone Act 1 that I did not understand at all. I wouldn't be surprised if all I needed to do was survive, which is done once again against Metal Sonic. It's not too hard because damage boosting is all too easy. And that's pretty much what I got from the game. I feel bad for not going into more detail about the game, but unfortunately this is a game that I was only able to play once. Long story short, I dealt with some extreme slowdown from the game, and I tried every possible solution to get the game running at a playable state. Hopefully there will be a new build available sometime in the future so I can jump back into the game, beat it, understand the bosses, and maybe collect the remaining Chaos Emeralds. Despite all of my struggles with it, I actually do recommend playing this. if you can get it to work. Sonic Rush 3D is a fan reimagination of the DS original that aims to take the 2D boost gameplay and bring it to 3D. Now, I know the series would adopt this gameplay with Sonic Unleashed, which is kind of funny, but I'll tell you why later. It's a low-poly 3D game with visuals similar to that of the Nintendo DS original, which is something I'm a sucker for, so seeing the game reimagined this way is such a treat. I would much rather have this over high-poly environments and models. The music comes from the CD rather than the crunchy ripped version from the source, and unfortunately I'm not too familiar with the level design of the original, but I am told that the game is a little heavy on the bottomless pits. It is a Dimps game after all. Thankfully this game doesn't really abuse that hazard, it's actually used sparingly. Even with my lower skill with boost games, this was a joy to play. The only low point has to be the section with the trees since I felt it was a little too easy to run into one. I can never pick up on how to navigate around them. Sonic's moveset is the real highlight of the game. Yes, you have the boost, the tricks, that weird little hop thing, the light dash, and the homing attack to give you so much freedom to approach areas in the way that you want to play. It's funny that I say that about the controls considering the level's a bit on the linear side, but with all the divergent paths and options that you have, it doesn't really feel that linear. The reason I found the Sonic Unleashed comment to be funny is because the first playable build of the game from Stage 2021 had a level that was a combination of Water Palace and Windmill Isle from the Wii version. And I'm just gonna say this, if you're gonna play anything from Stage 2024, it should be this one. I'd also recommend playing a bunch of other games because hey, Stage 2025 is around the corner, and I think that'll just about do it. Hey everyone, thanks for watching today's video. I know I missed Sage 2024 stuff by nearly a year, so hopefully we can be okay with this being late. Especially this late. Anyway, what fan games did you play and which ones were your favorites? Let me know in the comments section down below, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We're slowly getting things back to normal, so there's going to be more to look forward to. At this time, I want to give a shout out to the channel supporters, who are the ones who are supporting with a monthly contribution here on YouTube and on Patreon. The Chaos Tier members have their names scrolling on screen, and the Super Tier members get a verbal shout out, that being Dalton Furry here on YouTube. If you want to support the channel this way, you could do so with the join button below this video, or go to patreon.com/GottaBeFrank. Lowest tier is $1, and I appreciate everyone who supports the channel. You also get exclusive content, so if you like perks like that, hey, feel free to join. I also stream and I have other links that are in the description, like my second channel, my social media stuff, my Discord server. Go check those out. Again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and safe day, and I'll see you for the next one, but until then, take care.